California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced the launch of a first-of-its-kind office in the United States. It's the California Department of Justice's Office of Gun Violence Prevention.
Specifically, this new office will examine a broad range of factors to prevent gun violence, from firearm availability to effective resources for crisis prevention. Reduce gun violence by promoting research and data collection. We believe that evidence-based approaches and data-driven approaches are effective approaches.
Bonta said the unit will be dedicated to developing strategies and working with the stakeholders statewide to address gun violence. The new office will support the Department of Justice's ongoing gun violence reduction efforts led by the Bureau of Firearms and DOJ's litigation sections. That includes the department's seizure of illegal firearms, prosecution of firearms trafficking cases, and defense of California's gun laws. Bonta also announced a nationwide search for the office's first director. As the November midterm elections approach, advertisements and campaigns are everywhere, trying to make certain ballot measures sound as appealing as possible. But what are Californians really voting for? An expert explains what's hiding behind a lot of the titles and short summaries.
Will Swaim is the president of the California Policy Center and an award-winning journalist. He explains to California Insider Siamak Karami the potential impact of the 7 initiatives on the ballot this November. One of the most controversial ones is Proposition 1 on abortion.
So we're trying to balance these two, I think, really critical claims of the right to life. The woman has a right to life also. I totally grant that. The question is, do Californians really want almost an inability of the government to regulate in any way a woman's access to abortion? Does the unborn child have any claim at any time, up to the minute of birth, which is how this initiative is written? That's the dilemma for all of us to try to resolve on this. And I think that, probably there are reasonable arguments on both sides that would be shut down immediately by this constitutional amendment.
Proposition 26 and 27 would revolve around sports gambling, but are appealing to voters in a very different way. Prop 26 would allow in-person roulette, dice games, and sports wagering on federally recognized Native American tribes. Prop 27 would legalize online and mobile sports wagering through federally recognized Indian tribes and eligible online businesses like FanDuel and DraftKings. Prop 27 would also generate taxes for the homeless. The propositions are opposites of each other.
Both of these are about powerful, embedded interests who are trying to appeal. On the 27 side, it's we're going to resolve homelessness. On the 26 side, it's, we are a proud Native American people who have been harmed by the arrival of Europeans here, and you owe it to us to protect our right to have these gambling. Well, look at how well we do. It serves our tribal community.
Prop 30 is another initiative that has received a lot of attention. It would increase tax on personal income over $2 million to fund programs to reduce air pollution and prevent wildfires. It pushes for zero-emission vehicle programs. Governor Newsom has made ads in opposition to Prop 30.
We're going to tax these people, and they won't leave. They won't go. Well, they are going. And as they go, we are damaging the California economy.
They take their businesses with them. We've seen they take jobs with them, too.
They take their jobs, and ironically, they take their tax revenue. They take the amount of money that they would be paying on taxes in California, and they just move it to Texas or Florida or Tennessee or wherever.
Swaim also talked about issues on other initiatives like Prop 29 on regulating dialysis providers and Prop 31 on banning flavored tobacco products.
A green energy storage facility caught fire Tuesday morning. The fire was put out within 10 hours. The fire didn't cause blackouts or influence the grid, but one air pollution expert says such fires can emit toxic acids.
A Tesla Megapack battery caught fire Tuesday morning at a PG&E energy storage facility in Monterey. John Hoslinger, fire captain with North Monterey County Fire, told CNBC that 2 companies and 4 fire engines responded at around 1:40 a.m. By 11 a.m., the fire was put out. Hoslinger said the firefighters followed recommended protocols by PG&E and Tesla to, quote, let the initial Megapack burn out. He said the cause is not known yet, but an investigation is underway. The California Highway Patrol closed a stretch of Highway 1 following the incident, and traffic was redirected to take a detour. Some nearby residents received shelter-in-place advisories due to fire emissions. According to Richard Stedman, an air pollution control officer for the Monterey Bay Air Resources District, lithium-ion battery fires can emit toxic constituents such as hydrochloric and hydrofluoric acid. PG&E spokesperson Jeff Smith said the fire didn't cause any power outages or injury. The 182.5 megawatt Tesla Megapack system was commissioned by PG&E earlier this year. It gives grid operators the flexibility to move extra capacity between counties and store power from intermittent sources such as wind and solar for later use.
On Monday, a court trial started in San Diego regarding a young sailor accused of igniting a fire on a naval ship. It was one of the military's worst non-combat ship disasters. Here's how he plans to face the trial.
This past Monday, Navy sailor Ryan Sawyer Mays waived his rights to a jury and agreed to place the outcome in the hands of a Navy judge who will make the final decision. Mays is being accused of igniting the USS Bonham Richard in 2020, making it one of the military's worst non-combat ship disasters. The court-martial started on Monday at Naval Base San Diego, where the young sailor has opted for a military judge, Captain Derek Butler, to preside over the court-martial instead of having a military jury hear the case. The prosecutors alleged that Mays was seeking revenge against the Navy. They say he was angry for being tasked to deck duty after failing to become a Navy SEAL. As for Mays, his Military Defense Council Lieutenant Taylor Haggerty responded in her opening remarks that investigators accused Mays before completing their investigation by ignoring evidence and witness accounts.
Experts and port officials have predicted that the number of arriving cargo ships at the Port of Los Angeles will slow down over the holiday season. But they're warning consumers that the supply chain crisis is not over yet.
The National Retail Federation, which is the largest retail trade association, reported a slowdown in the cargo surge this month for the Port of Los Angeles. Jonathan Gold, the organization's vice president for supply chain and customs policy, said that although consumers are continuing to buy, the two-year surge has begun to slow down. But according to Sam Mercoliano, a maritime historian and former merchant mariner, he stressed that the supply chain crisis is not over. On his September 6th video blog, What is Going On with Shipping, he said that the supply chain crisis is not over, it's just that ships have relocated to other American ports. He added that volumes were increased earlier this year due to expected union contract negotiations between the international longshore and warehouse unions that could have affected operations at the Los Angeles and Long Beach ports. Gene Serica, executive director of the Port of Los Angeles, said that long wait times are another factor due to the backups in Chicago, Kansas City, and Dallas. Serica also praised the railroad union for negotiating and diverting a looming rail labor strike. He stressed how much railroads play a vital role for the Port of Los Angeles and stated, quote, "This is great news for our nation's supply chain and all Americans."
While most people rarely think about it when getting into their car, driving is one of the most dangerous activities we take part in on a daily basis. New research helps pinpoint some of the most dangerous areas for driving in the state.
California drivers can now be sure which are the most dangerous stretches of road in the state. That's according to analysis from personal finance company MoneyGeek, who reviewed data from several federal sources from 2017 to 2019. The most dangerous section of road is part of I-15 between exits 129 and 138. That's in the city of Hesperia, 35 miles north of San Bernardino, heading towards Las Vegas. The 4.5-mile stretch of road saw 19 traffic deaths for the research dates. The second and third most dangerous places to drive were both in the San Francisco Bay Area. Berkeley came in second, with its often congested section of I-80 between exits 8A and 14A. The 5-mile stretch of road saw 15 fatalities. Not far north, also along I-80, The 5-mile stretch of highway passing through Richmond saw 13 fatal accidents. In total, the state saw over 10,000 crash-related deaths for the 2-year time period. In 28% of the deaths, speeding was a factor. 27% of those deaths were due to drunk driving. 4% of the deaths were due to distracted driving, a statistic that California drivers are much better in compared to the rest of the country. Money Geek ranked California 47th in terms of worst distracted driving cases.
60 years have passed since James Bond came into our lives. We'll take a look at how Hollywood celebrated the Bond film franchise anniversary.
This year marks the 60th anniversary of the Bond films franchise, and by Hollywood tradition, the sibling producers were honored with a hands and feet ceremony on Wednesday. Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson took over the Bond films from their father.
It's a huge, huge honor, and you know, my dad, Cubby Broccoli, has his star on the Walk of Fame not far away from here, so it really feels very special, and we can't help but really think about him today because he's the one who, you know, started it all.
It's an extraordinary honor for Barbara and I to be here today at the TCL Chinese Theater. We love film and we love making films. To be included in this historical Hollywood tradition celebrating cinema is an absolute honor.
He recalls his childhood memory of growing up and becoming a star and having his hands and feet memorialized in Hollywood.
In the newsreels, we'd see stars placing their hands and feet in the concrete, and after school, I and my friends would come up here, sneak up here, and put our hands and feet in the same impression. At that age, I'd never dreamed that for 1 second that over 70 years later, I'd be standing here today with my best producing partner anyone could ever have, my sister Barbara.
As for all the die-hard Bond fans wondering when the next Bond's film will be out,
We'll start thinking about Bond next year.
there have been a total of 25 Bond movies that have garnered over $7 billion at the box office to date, making it the 5th highest grossing film series of all time.